Is Lewis Hamilton down and out? Can he win his 8th world title? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing today. We did discuss the other day about Hamilton throwing Mercedes under the bus, saying that he told them the car wouldn't work for this year, the concept is invalid, and that if they went his way, they would have had a very, very competitive car.
Yeah, well, let's be real. Before we actually go on about the top of this video, I want to bring what you said up there. I mean, at the end of the day, Lewis Hamilton is a driver, and yeah, he might have been right, but what are Mercedes? What are they supposed to do? Go with Lewis Hamilton and just say to all these engineers that they're paying a lot of money to, I see you guys, you don't know shit.
This guy, he has the pen. He has the paper.
Why doesn't Lewis Hamilton build the car then if he knows what it takes to build a? Because he wasn't when Mercedes were dominating, when he was collecting the 7 world titles. You know, was he giving input into those cars?
Exactly. No, but Hamilton was always, it's always a team effort. See, when we're losing, fuck you guys. But as terms with the results, we have 46 votes. 22% vote yes, he will win another title, while 78% voted no. And I tell you what, if I'm to answer this right now, it's no. He's not winning it. And you know why? Because I think he's going to stay with Mercedes, and I don't see Mercedes winning the title for a good couple of years. And guess what? He's 38, and I don't see Hamilton staying to, like, Alonso Schumacher age.
I don't think Hamilton's got the determination and the motivation. I think Alonso's sticking around because he knows that he's underachieved in his career in terms of trophies, titles, race wins. I don't even see Alonso getting a 3rd world title, but I think just the thought for Alonso to be on the top step of the podium again, I think that drives Alonso on. I mean, you can argue Lewis Hamilton's got nothing apart from breaking Michael Schumacher's 7 world titles. That's the only thing left for Hamilton to do. He's got the pole record, he's got the race win record, he's probably got the points record. He would have to have the points record.
I'll tell you what, right?
I mean, but what records does he not have? And even the world titles, he's joint with Michael Schumacher. And let's be real, Michael Schumacher's not going to come back and beat it. So,
no.
I mean, if Lewis Hamilton retires, he knows that he's joint 7 titles with Schumacher.
Another thing, right? Alonso had his era, right? Then Vettel come in, won his titles. Hamilton's come in and won his titles. I think it would be a decent send-off for Alonso. Vettel went out on a low. Hamilton looks like he's going to go out on a low. Alonso could actually go out on a high.
Yep.
But again, I think as long as that Aston Martin's competitive, you will fucking have to drag Fernando out of that cockpit.
Yeah. Although, I mean, if you said to Alonso right now, this is a Lewis Hamilton, we will talk about Hamilton in a minute, but if you said to Alonso right now, look, you'll win the title this year, but you have to walk away from the sport, I think he'd take it.
Fuck, obviously, take it.
Right, what if you said?
But
what if you said you won't win the title, but you'll win a few races, but you have to leave at the end of the year?
Why would he take that?
He wants to win again. The guy hasn't won since 2012, for God's sake.
I think he'd have enough faith in his ability not to do that.
Right, anyway, point
2013 actually, right, Britain.
So it was. Alright, it's been too long. That was my fucking point. Nearly
Was it Britain or was it Spain? I think it was it. No, it was Spain.
No, in both, no.
Might have been both actually.
Anyway, Hamilton, like the title of this video, or at least the thumbnail of this video said, he is down. But is he out? Is Hamilton out? I mean, Total Wolff was basically insinuating that Mercedes are going to have to like scrap the plans for this year, and they're going to have to
one race
rework the car. I don't know if I watched a different race. Mercedes on race pace, okay, they did look as if they were the 4th fastest team, but I didn't see them being a mile off the pace. We even seen Hamilton towards the later stages trying to hunt down Sainz, and he seemed to be faster than Sainz. It's like the Mercedes car ain't good, but like I said, it's the first race. Who knows? We've seen it, but sometimes it can be misleading. We've seen in like opening races where a car can be really good, but it turns out it was just like track dependent.
Exactly.
So I'm under no illusion that Red Bull have the fastest car, right? And they would probably have the fastest car for most of the first few races or whatever. I get that, but I don't think Mercedes should be ruling out wins. Especially, all right, maybe if you want to rule it, I don't even think they should rule out the title, but I don't think they should be ruling out wins at this stage after one race.
They've fucking spat the dummy, that's what they've done. I mean, they've come out and said today there'll be no finger pointing, but Hamilton literally just threw the entire team under the bus.
So the finger's already been pointed, and yeah, for me, it would be dumb. It would be way too early for Mercedes just to like basically throw in the towel for this season and focus on next year. I mean, we're one race in. We had George Russell come out and say that he believes Red Bull will win all 23 races. Again, I think that's a massive overreaction from Mercedes. We've never really seen it before. I guess you could maybe argue Mercedes are so used to winning that they don't know how to lose. I just think it's ridiculous that some of the stuff that's coming out from the Mercedes camp, that, you know, this car's terrible, Red Bull's going to win every race, we have to abandon this car and focus on next
You've got
year.
to do the math though, right? Because, say they abandon this car, that's what they're probably going to do, right? And they start from scratch.
That's something you do halfway through a season.
No, but
It's
listen,
not
right?
after one race.
I get your point, right? But say they start from scratch, they're effectively a year and a bit behind every team, not just fucking Red Bull.
Wouldn't it make more sense for them to try and improve this car?
The concept to go, right, is the Red Bull concept. That's what Aston Martin have done. Aston Martin has a Mercedes rear end, but a Red Bull front end, which is why it's so good, right? But Aston Martin copied them, like they copied Merc a few years ago with Racing Point. But that's not what Mercedes are and Ferrari. They need to create their own concept in order to beat Red Bull or Ferrari's concept. They don't want to play second fiddle. You get me?
Yep.
They don't want to copy a team just to copy that. Because see, no matter how well you copy a team, the team that did it first is going to be better.
More often than not.
Yeah, exactly. More often than not. Now, of course, if you copy a team, then you tweak something, you could maybe get a bit more out of it.
So what you're saying is Aston Martin will never be number one because they're copying Red Bull?
No, I think Aston Martin will, but I think they've copied Red Bull to get up the grid initially, and therefore
Then they can tweak it in their own direction.
After a few years, you know, once they've cemented that bit at the top, they can go their own way and try more initiative ideas and inventive,
Right.
all that good stuff. But as for Hamilton, you know what? There was a thing I've seen people discussing that he'd be better off at Ferrari than Mercedes. Do you agree?
No, we've seen Ferrari.
This season, I would say yes, but I think long term it would still be Mercedes.
I know, but I mean, I can just imagine Hamilton being at Ferrari. They fuck it up, and then he starts crying anyway. The toys will get thrown at the pram.
You know what? Leclerc and Sainz do a good job of hiding it. I couldn't imagine this guy would do a good job.
Although I do think the longer it goes, Leclerc is beginning to lose his patience.
Leclerc, after Bahrain, made a fit on it yesterday. Came out, he actually wrote a letter to head of Ferrari and he demanded a meeting and wanted reassurances.
Yeah, so I guess
Apparently
we'll see.
Leclerc could replace Hamilton at Mercedes.
Could it be a swap?
Could be a swap. I mean, Hamilton always said he wanted to drive for Ferrari, but I don't know. I think it's just one of those fantasy ones. We saw with Schumacher, he had his 7 titles. Then the 2 seasons after it, he kind of petered out. I know he was close in the 06 one, but I feel like it's the end of an era.
And let's be real, since that Schumacher era, Ferrari have won one world title, and Mercedes handed it to them.
McLaren.
Or McLaren handed it to
They
them.
fucking gifted it.
You know, so. And constructors' titles, again, I think they've won one. They've won 2 since then. Fair enough, alright. They won 07 and 08. But again,
that's a long time.
07, they won it because McLaren got kicked out. And in 08, you got to ask Kiki Kovalainen what was up. You know,
Hey, Hiki, why are you so fucking push? Don't know Hiki Kovalainen, but
maybe Hiki was the Ferrari spy. You never fucking know.
You never know, but Hamilton, the question is for you. Will he win his title? Another one.
I've seen people say he won't win any more races. Like, I think he will. I'd be shocked if he didn't win another couple of races. I mean, I think he could win races this season. Absolutely. But will he win another title? I don't know. Only one driver a season can win a title.
Yeah, and
Max Verstappen's favourite to do it this year. So then you move into next year. Again, also, I feel like Hamilton is not only racing against Max and racing against other teams. I mean, if he could be racing against Ferrari, he could be racing against an improved Aston Martin. He could be racing against Fernando, who's now back competing for titles. And more importantly, I think he's also now racing against a teammate, which he hasn't for the last 6 or 7 seasons.
No, the thing is,
it's just Hamilton's had it all his own way for far too long, and now he's in a situation where he's not in the best car, and he's in a teammate that can appear to beat him regularly as well. So
say Red Bull dominate till this new change, right? 2026, right? So Max, say wins this year, and then the next 2 years, which puts him on 5 titles going into 2026 or his new regs. Max would be late 20s, and he's already won 5 titles. And F1 drivers go for long these days.
he could win 10 double figures, no problem.
Yeah, and that's fucking mad. It just shows Abu Dhabi, right? 2021, Hamilton could have been going on 8.
Could have been 8. Could have been 8-1 to Lewis.
No, it's 7. I mean, it's 7-3.
Yeah.
And we're 1 race in. But that's it. Mercedes down and out. Hamilton's not winning a title. And
I actually, to me, I still actually haven't caught on to the fact that like Max, it doesn't feel real to me that Max by the end of this year could have more titles than Alonso.
mad though.
It is mad. But,
He's going to have more titles than fucking everyone soon. Everyone put together. But he did say he didn't want to stick around into his 30s, which I doubt.
remember, was it 19? It was Vettel versus, or was it 18? We had Vettel versus Hamilton, and we're making a big deal. It's 4 against 4. Who's going to get title number 5?
Yep.
Yeah, we could have that for Alonso and for starting this season. Who'll get number 3? Who'll be on a...
Be interesting, like, to see if Alonso is very consistent and Max gets like a few retirements, and it's like, oh, Fernando.
I mean, let's say Max wins the next. Let's say Max wins the next. Let's say Max wins the next 2 races, right?
Yeah.
And Alonso gets third in every race. So Max would have a 10-10-10. Max would have a 30-point gap over Hamilton, over Alonso, right? If you take away, let's say you take away like fastest laps or anything like that. But then like, say his 4th race, Max is a DNF. Even if Alonso can't beat Perez, even if he finishes 2nd, you've closed the gap to 12 points. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you can just be consistent and still in there. And that's assuming Alonso finishes 3rd. You know, who's to say he can't finish 2nd? Who's to say he can't win some races?
That's it, troops. But Hamilton, I don't think he's winning any races this year. Mercedes have dropped to 4th favourite for the constructors. They're worse than Aston Martin for the constructors.
No, I think you can win the title as long as you're consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency's key. Let's look at Robert Kubica. 2008. Didn't win a race. But he was consistently on the podium.
He did win a race.
He won one towards the end. Was it not towards the end? Canada?
I was not towards the end. It was like 6 races in.
Well, whatever. My point is, right, he wasn't like a regular winner, you know what I mean? He was...
Remember that race? Hamilton hit the back of fucking Kimi, then Rosberg hit the back of him.
It was fair to say that the BMW Sauber didn't have the pace of the McLaren and Ferrari.
Of course it did.
But due to... Of course it did.
Of course it didn't.
But due to his consistency, he was still in a title race up till towards the end of the season.
Well, that's it.
Who knows?
That's it. Maybe we'll get an outside chance for someone, but I don't think it's going to be Hamilton. We're 1 race in, he spat the dummy. What's it going to be like in a few races' time?
If results say the same.
Yeah, but again, where can he move to? Will he move? Will this be... he hasn't signed a deal for next year, and that's the thing. If Mercedes are this bad and he doesn't see much promise in their new ideology and concept, will he re-sign?
I don't know. It's a big risk to leave, buddy. Mercedes have given him 6 world titles.
Well, could he retire then?
He could. I personally wouldn't leave Mercedes to go to Ferrari.
Imagine he left and Rosberg came back.
Be pretty cool.
Who do Mercedes get if Hamilton leaves or retires?
Who have they still got in their driver system?
No one, really.
Is Nick de Vries still not technically a Mercedes
For
driver?
fuck's sake, they would not go for Nick de Vries.
Is Ocon not still
Technically, but he's tied into Alpine.
The thing is, though...
It would have to be Norris, wouldn't it?
Would they want Ocon?
It would have to be Norris.
I suppose.
But Norris and Russell, I think, would just fucking...
2 Brits.
2 Brits, like they've got. But that's it, guys, right? We've give you a 14-minute special here. Hamilton, down and out. It feels like I've said that about 10 times, but you know what?
It's true.
I like seeing Mercedes in the mud. So they can fucking stay there. Till next time, though. Peace.